Kia ora family, and welcome to this new multi-part series of mine, Recreating Impact. This is a follow-up to my big-ass video from last year, The Art of Impact. This is another series of videos that has been inspired by Sugar Punch Design Works, similar to their Design Shop episodes, where we take a look at the characters and we break them down. And for this part 1 video, I'm going to be looking at EYEDOL from Killer Instinct. We'll quickly cover the classic EYEDOL before going into the new EYEDOL that was released in 2016. I had a lot of fun working on this because it's an opportunity to talk more about Killer Instinct. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know your thoughts down below after watching the video. And yeah, let's get into it. This is Recreating Impact, Recreating EYEDOL. Okay, so when talking about EYEDOL from a gameplay perspective, there isn't really much to say about him other than he was a massive prick. So we'll quickly talk about his backstory because it's much different than the new EYEDOL. So EYEDOL, back in the day, was a 2,000-year-old something who was bent on conquest, similar to Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. However, in his arcade ending, you've learned that he has a mother and that his name used to be Billy. The bracelets he wears around his wrist as a part of his design were apparently gifts from her on his birthday, and she apparently lost them in a car accident. Okay, seriously, how can he fit in a car? However, EYEDOL, being the evil asshole he is, crushes his own mother with his club. Okay, two things. First off, how old was she? And second, what is up with fighting games making obscure references to things that do not relate to fighting games? For example, Rain from Mortal Kombat. He's known as the Purple Ninja. Rain, Purple, Purple Rain, the Prince song? Yeah, I don't get it either. Oh, and also, EYEDOL? Yeah, how his name was apparently Billy? Yeah, Billy EYEDOL. I cannot make that shit up. So yeah, for as common as a difficult boss was back in the day, apparently references like that were also common. But anyway, moving on to EYEDOL's design now. Unlike other fighting game bosses where they retain most of their classic look in the modern era, in EYEDOL's case on the other hand, he received a dramatic redesign, not just in his appearance, but also his backstory. On the plus side, for people like me who are always feeling nostalgic, classic EYEDOL does make a return in the new Killer Instinct, and it does look pretty awesome. But anyway, in terms of the classic EYEDOL's gameplay, aside from being cheap as hell and constantly healing himself, one common thing I saw was whack, whack, another whack, whack a whack a whack a whack a whack a whack a whack, another whack, and then finally, whack. EYEDOL in this Killer Instinct is my favorite Killer Instinct character, and he's one of my favorite all-time fighting game characters. The changes to his gameplay and design are a result of his change in backstory. This design and game style would not exist without that change in his backstory, and that alone makes him a damn good reason to play in this game. So EYEDOL in this game, unlike the old one, wasn't a tyrant, but instead was a warrior chosen by the gods of the astral plane to be a watchman of the gods, similar to Tusk in this game as well. However, one of the gods on that plane, that being the Killer Instinct 2 boss, Gargos, was corrupting not just the astral plane, but also other planes of existence. And EYEDOL, being that he's a watchman of the gods, it's naturally his duty to deal to such a thing. However, for as powerful as EYEDOL was, he wasn't as strong as Gargos, and Gargos humiliated him, then killed him by cutting his head in half. The Season 2 character, Khan Ra, used his Babylonian sorcery to try and revive EYEDOL after finding his body, in the hopes that he would use EYEDOL as a way of combating Gargos in the upcoming war against him. EYEDOL has returned thanks to his sorcery, but now instead of serving the gods, EYEDOL is serving only himself. Or more accurately, themselves. So EYEDOLL in this game has been reworked into a stance character, which effectively makes him two characters for the price of one, similar to Zeku in Street Fighter V, how he can go from young to old. But the difference of EYEDOLL is that he is literally two different characters in one character slot. He has a rushdown variation and he has a zoning variation. While in layman's terms, he has a runny bashy side and a stay back and hit you with projectile side. And thankfully the way he's designed makes it very easy to tell the two apart. The warrior variation glows red, he has a broken horn, his face looks very angry, and he wears armor plates on the side of that head. And also, the inside of his brain glows red. Look. And the zoning variation, known as mage, he glows purple, he looks calm and collected, his horn's intact, and he has these weird tattoos on his body. The way he holds his weapon and the way he stands is also different. So as you can imagine, the rushdown variation excels at getting in close, and he bashes you with his club, and I just love the animation, it just looks so cool. And he also has the mage where he shoots lightning projectiles, he also shoots meteors, and if you could see right there, you'll notice that EYEDOLL, the way he switches, it's a little weird. Unlike other stance characters, EYEDOLL can't actively switch on his own, he kinda needs to let the game decide when he's gonna do that. This gameplay element relates back to his backstory where Kanra resurrected him, but his magic wasn't strong enough, so EYEDOLL can only have one head awake at a time. This gives both the player and the opponent a little something extra to think about in battle. EYEDOLL has two different command moves that help him with his unique mechanic where he gains charges for both warrior and mage. You'll see in mage form he has a teleport strike which gives him a rage charge in warrior mode. What this does is that it lets him jump, backdash or forward dash cancel out of any normal or special move. So that makes the warrior variation a little more unpredictable. And you'll also see in warrior, for the mage head, he will do a crushing roar command grab which gives the mage head rage charges. Rage magic allows EYEDOLL to use the light, medium and heavy version of any of his mage special moves all at once at the cost of no meter. And then finally, there's Awakening. Awakening, as the name implies, means that EYEDOLL is once again back to his former glory. So before, EYEDOLL was just two crazy characters. Now, he's one crazy character that is absolutely insane. So in this mode, EYEDOLL has access to everything. So because his mage and warrior special moves share the same input, if you do the club bash, he will at the same time do volt strike. Doing the uppercut will summon a meteor. He has a charge and a stomp. He also has access to both his command grab and his teleport at the same time. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, he's pretty freaking crazy. And there you have it, that covers the new EYEDOLL in Killer Instinct in part 1 of my Recreating Impact series. The way they made EYEDOLL going from a classic, stereotypical, tropey, overpowered boss from the classic era to the more interesting and diverse character, or characters, that we see in this game immediately makes him one of my favorites. But this isn't quite the end for EYEDOLL. I will talk about him briefly in part 2 when I talk about the next character, Gil. But until then, this has been Recreating Impact, Recreating EYEDOLL. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in part 2 with the Street Fighter V character, Gil.
Ultra!